welcome back to my channel. Heather here. Today we have a special guest. My husband is back, Devin.
Hey everyone.
So we are going to be doing one Halloween tutorial look. This is a look that was inspired by Desi Perkins' melting skull face, but we are going to do it on him. So this is kind of a male take on this. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you want to see that, go ahead and keep watching, and we will get started now. Alright guys, so to get started, we are just going to do the side of the face that is not going to be covered with the skull. I am just applying foundation to his face, and then I am going to start buffing it in with a brush. And I'm going to say now, I'm sorry for all the chit chat that appears to be going on. My husband and I had a lot of fun doing this tutorial. So as you can see, I am just buffing this into the skin. He had a lot of baby hairs, so there was a lot of trying to work around that. And then he's very expressive. So I had to explain to him that, you know, squinting your eyes is going to cause creasing, honey. So I tried to go in with a different brush, and even though you're not supposed to pull down on the skin, I ended up having to do that just to kind of avoid as much creasing as humanly possible. It was quite a chore though. So again, just applying that all over the half of the face that is not going to be covered. Then we went in with a white eyeliner, and this one was from Wet n Wild. It's just a pencil liner, and this is what I used to map out the skin, or rather the skull and the skin where that transition was happening. So as you can see, I was doing the drips. All of my tips and tricks and stuff that I learned from Desi's video, so make sure to check it out. I will link it below. This was completely inspired by her. I loved the video. As you can see, if you mess up, you can erase what you messed up and just continue to draw the drips with that white pencil. Next, I am setting the foundation that I put down with powder because, like I said, he is very expressive, and I felt that if I didn't do this, he would literally laugh the foundation off of his face. So to do that, I just went in with a foundation powder, and then I pressed it into the skin and swiped underneath the eyes to avoid some of the creasing and kind of get rid of some of the creasing. But he was being a bit of a child. Just kidding. He said that he got some powder in the eye, so I went in with a smaller brush. He made some really great faces, I am seeing now. Next, we went in and did the eyebrows, and I am using the NYX Micro Pencil, and I made sure to fill in his natural brow. Like I said at the beginning, this is a male take on it, so I was not doing anything super glamorous on this side of the face. I wanted it to be like he was just a man whose face was melting off. So I filled in the natural brow. We were laughing because I told him he had really bushy brows, and he goes, well, yeah, I'm a man. So it was great times had by all. Next, going in with a jumbo eye crayon in Black Bean from NYX, I am outlining the skull eye socket. Now, I did try out some face paint. I recommend, if you're going to do this, to get a really good face painting set. I think I say that at some point in the video, but the face painting set that I got was just not very good. So most of the work that I did, I actually used a jumbo eye crayon in white and in black. So the face paint I tried out on his face, that's why there's a little bit of white underneath the eye socket right now. But I did decide to just go in with that jumbo eye crayon and go to town. And this, I will tell you, is probably the hardest part to do on someone else. It is very difficult to make sure that you're getting it even and that you don't press too hard, trying to make them comfortable. So just work with what you've got. After you set down that eye crayon, you can blend it. However, the more that you blend, it will blend away. So I opted to go in with a black eyeshadow and just set it down and go ahead and try and blend it out that way. And I found that that worked really well. And as you can see, if you make any mistakes, a facial wipe is going to be your best friend. I did end up having a lot of fallout with that black eyeshadow. So most of the face paint that I had tried out on his face, I just wiped away, and it worked out for the best because I did go back in with that jumbo eye crayon. So again, just making sure to pat the shadow in, because if you start to brush, it will cause fallout, and black is kind of a hard color to eliminate fallout with. The next thing I did was go in and do the temples. So as you can see, I have already started with the temple here. I'm going to bring it down and around into the jawbone. I was currently referencing a picture of Desi's skull and a picture of another skull, just like a real one. And I was trying to create this shadowed area. So because the face paint was not working out for me, I had a white jumbo crayon and I went through most of it, and it was totally worth it. It worked out great. The only thing to know with the jumbo crayons is that if you do use it to fill in the whole face, it does take a long time to blend it together. And it's going to take, probably the best way to do it is with a white eyeshadow. I found that by taking the white eyeshadow, it did come together a lot faster. So I took the white eyeshadow and just blended it all together with that because there was some streaking. I'm gonna say, personally, I have a background working with human skeletons, so it's not the end of the world if there's some streaking or it's not perfect, because skulls are not perfectly flat and symmetrical and everything, but it does need to look somewhat put together. And as streaky as it was with just the crayon, I would recommend going back in with an eyeshadow for sure and blending all of that together. And as you can see, we were having a wonderful time. I was trying to do it on his lips, and he was making a really funny sound that he claims was involuntary, but I think he was doing it just because it was funny. So lots of laughs to be had. It's a great look to do with a partner and to just work on together. I did find that blending the white with the black that I had already done actually worked out really well. So if you are willing to do that, that is my recommendation on how to do that. Then I went to the other side, and using that black jumbo crayon, I went ahead and filled in the shadowed parts of where the drip was going to be. Again, using that shadow or that jumbo crayon to create the shadows, you want to go back in and pat it down with some kind of shadow to set it. I started off with black, then I tried to put white on top of the black with the shadow, and I decided, you know what worked best for me was actually putting white shadow on top of the black. So right now I'm putting black shadow on top, and you're gonna see here that I try and go over it with white, and that just didn't work. Later on, I went back in and put white shadow over that, and that helped really create the dimensions that I was looking for. But right now I felt I would leave this in because I was using it to kind of define the drips and everything too. So that worked out really well. And taking that black shadow, I did go in on that white part and created the dimension, which helped create that transition from white to black. Next, I drew on his nose, and I am using a liquid eyeliner. I found that this was easiest for me. honestly, use whatever you've got around that's going to work for you. I found the eyeliner worked best because it stuck and it was precise and I could get those lines that I was really looking for. And I was really happy with the way that the nose came out. Sorry that my hand is blocking most of it, but you can kind of get the idea of what I was going for. I also, while having that liquid eyeliner out, went in and added in the details on the cheek near the drips. This was a trick that I picked up from Desi. It really helped define those areas and kind of give it this effect that it really was peeking through the skin. To do these, I held the liquid liner super loosely and I literally just kind of put it on the skin and wiggled, and it created this peeking through idea that worked out really, really well, and I really liked the way that that part of the skull came out. Next, we are doing the mouth. So again, I was using that liquid liner. I lined the inside of his top lip. This gave some definition as to where the lips separated, and I created that line off to the side. Then following his teeth, I just drew lines. I didn't want to do something too detailed because I am not a detailed person like that. I don't think they would have come out as well. So I made it really super simple on myself and just drew lines where his teeth were. It came out really well. Frankly, in my opinion, it makes it super easy on you, and you can kind of see where the teeth are, and it gives that illusion that the teeth are coming through on the skull. Next, I set everything with the white shadow, like I mentioned. This, like I said, helped to really smooth things over and make sure that everything was kind of blended together as best as it was going to be. I also am putting it a little bit over the nose to make it appear not quite as deep as the eye socket. So that's kind of a personal take. Next, I'm going in with a brown eyeshadow, and I am just starting to create some dimension. This is something that I'm not super good at, but frankly, if you look at a real skull and you kind of look at where it's shadowed, just create some blended out brown areas in those areas. And as you can see, he is being goofy as I'm trying to, blend, but create some illusion with that. It'll look really good. Don't be afraid. Just keep working with it. And if you don't like something, you can always go back and fix it. So I'm blending some brown around the temples where the skin and the skull are connecting to create some dimension. I do some more around the eye socket and some around his chin, which I actually decided I didn't like. So I went back in with the white eyeshadow and reset that area, and that kind of erased the brown that I had put down. So everything is fixable. Don't worry if something gets a little wonky, you can always go back and fix it. So this is kind of what it looks like. There you go. I'm going back in and fixing the brown that I didn't like, but this is what it looks like before you add the 3D gel. So I just told him that we're ready to add the gel, and here we go. You literally just squeeze it right onto the face. As you can see, it goes everywhere, and if you're doing it on someone else and even on yourself, make sure you're tilting your head back because it does go everywhere. And he was not tilting his head. I kept telling him to, but he was having difficulties with it, so I helped him. And then you can kind of stop the dripping and apply more where is needed. I have to say this definitely is what makes the look come out as awesome as it does. And just apply it wherever what you drew in the drips or you feel needs some extra drippage. And that is going to be the final look. Make sure to not get it in the people's mouth too, so tell them to keep their mouth shut until it dries. But it is super comfortable to wear. Also, be forewarned, you do have to heat this up, so make sure to test it on the back of their hand to make sure it is not too hot before you use it. Alright guys, this is the final look. As you can see, I'm pretty proud of it. I have to say though that the face paint that I got from Spirit was not super great. So if you're going to do something like this, I would highly recommend investing in some good face paint. I ended up using just jumbo crayons and it worked out pretty well. I made the teeth a little bit simpler and I didn't do anything makeup wise to the normal side of the face because he is a man and he doesn't like glam. So, you know.
I love glam. What are you talking about? I want to get glammed up.
All right. Well,
for the next one.
Now you've heard it. Now you've heard it. Like this video if you want to see him get glammed up. Like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
See you later.